welcome to the 9642 podcast. This is your host, Mr. NumberNine.
And this is The Fool.
Your 96 best place to listen to...
14 years.
Yes, for our 10th season of our mostly up-to-date...
And unqualified. And unrequested.
ramblings of the various issues in the world of sport.
Or something like that.
Hello, everyone. We are about to enter another exciting World Cup.
Yeah.
The Cricket World Cup is due to start on the 5th of October. Recording this a couple of weeks in, so most of the squads have been released, so we can do a bit of a review. And we're going to look at all the matchups. This is the last time this format will be used. 10 teams, every team will play each other. Best 4 teams will make it to the finals, to the semi-finals.
Yeah.
And the semi-finals are a straight knockout. We've got World Cup returning back to India.
Yeah.
10 venues to host the games, including the Narendra Modi Stadium with 132,000 capacity. I believe it is the largest cricket stadium in the world by capacity at the moment.
Yeah, quite possibly.
And it's in Ahmedabad. Ahmedabad, just some trivia, it's a dry state, so no alcohol at the stadium.
Right.
It was quite interesting, and the great cricketer this morning, where they had Tanmay Bhatt, Indian social media person, and stand-up comedian, and Tarun Shakur, who's also a stand-up comedian and social media, Tarun specifically does a lot of cricket-related comedy stuff. So they were talking to the great cricketer, and they asked what if we had India versus Pakistan in the Narendra Modi Stadium for the final, and they were literally yep, there'll need to be a helicopter just ready to fly out the players who lose. Doesn't matter which country loses.
Yeah.
And somehow everybody will get incredibly rage-filled and angry, even though you can't drink in that stadium. The other side of that, he was because Tarun was complaining that he loves going to watch games in Australia. Just the grounds are great, which I can confirm, absolutely great to watch cricket in Australia in the grounds.
Yeah.
But Tan was literally no, if you're not suffering along with the players, if you can buy food that's nice and have beer, that's not. Instead of sitting in the sun and suffering with the players, you're not really watching cricket.
Have the full experience.
Get the full experience. So yeah, Ahmedabad. There's been a few places updated. The ICC have told people to that they want to keep the boundary sizes more than 70 meters, which is good. So we're not gonna get IPL 6s, and they're gonna leave grass on the pitches. So that's been, which will help the home team actually quite a bit, as we will about. So there's matches to be hosted in the Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangalore, which is traditionally a strong spin bowlers pitch. The Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai, once again another good spin bowlers pitch. The Arun Jaitley Stadium in Delhi, which is in the middle of Old Delhi, a wonderful part of town, has famously a great batting strip. Dharmasala, it's the smallest venue up in the picturesque Himalayas. HPCA Stadium. Hyderabad with the Rajiv Gandhi International, 55,000 is another big stadium. The world famous and our sister cricket ground, the Eden Gardens in Kolkata, named after the same Eden that Eden Park is named after in Auckland, of course. The BRSABV Stadium, Ekana Stadium in Lucknow, another 50K. It's another great batting pitch traditionally. Mumbai, Wakadi, of course, capacity has been
Mm-hmm.
reduced to only 32,000, which is interesting because
Oh,
it obviously hosted the final in 2011, had like an 80K capacity
yeah.
back then, and Maharashtra Cricket Association Stadium in Pune. So Maharashtra getting a lot of getting two venues there, but like not surprising, being like it's India's. Yeah, that's where the cricketing center of India,
Yeah, yeah.
and that the I believe the opening game will be in Lucknow, when sorry, it will be in Ahmedabad. Beg your pardon. So
Yeah.
England, and New Zealand will play in Lalit Modi's house in Ahmedabad, in his home state.
Yeah.
Just a quick review of the teams. New Zealand won the Super League to qualify for this tournament. The
All right.
uh, inaugural ICC Super League. Um, and obviously India qualified as hosts, but they also, I believe, finished second or third. And Afghanistan, Australia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, England, and South Africa qualified through the Super League. Full member nations, West Indies miss out for the first time,
Yeah.
sadly. Zimbabwe and Ireland also miss out. And So Sri Lanka managed to get through from the qualifiers, and incredibly, the Netherlands, who were the only associate in the Super League, managed to make it through, which I think shows that if you get to keep playing against good teams, and the Netherlands in that qualifying tournament didn't have their best players.
No.
Their best players weren't released from their county contracts,
Oh,
so their second tier players got them through to the World Cup. So it shows that it's
that's
not
good.
just that, like, the associate country, like, unlike the Netherlands, doesn't just have like a good starting 11. They have depth. They're building
Yeah,
up the
exactly.
grassroots and growing the game in that country. So it would be wonderful, I think, if we had Scotland and the Netherlands join the family of full member nations
Yeah.
in and then we can look at potentially having a second tier. I mean, I know that's very, very close to the heart of you and I, to have a
Yes,
second
yes.
division
That would
in
be
the.
awesome.
Yeah. Now look at the squads, but the games start on the 5th of October. But some interesting matchups, in my opinion. We've got England play New Zealand, obviously on the 5th of October.
Yeah. A great
The
opening match.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. A repeat of the World Cup final in 1999, and also this was the opening fixture in 1996 World Cup. England
Oh,
played New Zealand, and they won back then. So I hope that will happen again.
yeah, hopefully.
Um, Australia play India in Chennai on the 8th of October. So one of
Mm.
the headline games of the tournament will be early on. We
Yeah.
have obviously important match for me. 13th October, Bangladesh playing New Zealand
Yeah.
on in Chennai as well.
All right.
I think tough game for both teams because Bangladesh's batting has not been great, but they will have the spin bowling lineup in that spin
Mm.
friendly pitch. And but New Zealand have obviously got great spinners as well. But that's basically like an appetizer to the very next game, India versus
That's
Pakistan
right.
at the Narendra Modi Stadium on the 14th of October.
Oh,
Apparently, if you're in Ahmedabad planning to be there on the 4th, live in Ahmedabad, don't get sick or pregnant or get into an accident on the 14th, because not only is every hotel room booked out, every hospital has booked out their beds for that
all
night.
right. Wow.
So yeah,
That's
like,
crazy.
don't have anything bad happen to you if you live in Ahmedabad on the 14th.
No, no. It's going to be a very focused town. That place.
Yeah. Yep. But And then obviously we have another local derby for India. India playing Bangladesh on the um,
19th.
19th of October in Maharashtra in Pune. Um, the host team plays plays New Zealand on the 22nd of October in Dharmashala up in the mountains.
Well, yeah.
It'll be a great game. Both sides, I think, it'll be a very evenly matched contest there because the conditions might suit New Zealand's bowlers.
Yeah.
But obviously, India have that bowling lineup for
Yeah,
those
yeah.
conditions as well. Then obviously the two favorites, India, England, play on the 29th of October in Lucknow. This will be potentially a curtain raiser to the final.
Potentially.
Okay.
I think we'll
Uh,
pull something out of the bag, but yeah.
Yeah. Like if the bookies are right, that's going to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
the curtain raiser to the final. On Halloween, we have Bangladesh play Pakistan in Eden Gardens in Kolkata,
Ooh.
traditionally where India tend to put Bangladesh to play against Pakistan. Um, Obviously, there's a strong rivalry there. We've got New Zealand play Pakistan on the 4th of November. Like New Zealand has broken their Pakistan duck. I think until 2008, New Zealand had. Sorry, until 2011, when Ross Taylor scored his century at Palakelly,
Yeah,
New
yeah, yeah.
Zealand had never beaten Pakistan at the World Cup.
Yeah.
So, and since then we've won every game against Pakistan. So, but always a
There
bit
we go.
nervous. I feel like whenever we
Yeah.
play Pakistan.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. It's always may just be our vintage showing, but yeah. Always that little bit at a
Yeah,
World Cup playing Pakistan. Just always, especially when it is a game that's going to matter and it's like a must win or something.
absolutely, absolutely. It's the opposite of when we play South Africa, which is on the 1st
Yeah.
of November in Pune. New Zealand, if like in the history of the World Cups, South Africa has often beaten New Zealand in games that don't matter. But if it's a
Mm.
game that matters for who gets to qualify into the next round, or it's a knockout game, New Zealand seems to beat South Africa every time.
Yeah.
And that's just been how it's played out. The second biggest rivalry in the Indian subcontinent, Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka, being played in Delhi um, on the 6th of November. That's truly neutral ground. There's going to be lots of supporters for both teams. That's going to be an absolute cracker as well, in my
Yeah.
opinion. And then obviously we've got the final thing. India play Netherlands to finish off the tournament. I think it's nice that the Netherlands get to play the last game against India. India may
Yeah.
have already qualified by then and maybe already confirmed they're going to be top. Not that it matters, because I think once you're in the semis, you're going to play a good
Yeah.
team. It doesn't matter who you play. Um,
No, exactly.
and so I think if India they might play their guys who didn't get too many games and against the Netherlands for that. New Zealand have playing Sri Lanka. That could potentially be a game where both sides are competing for one of the top four. India versus Pakistan, very
Yeah.
similar in Eden Gardens. Pakistan tend to get a lot of supporters at Eden Gardens, so
Right. Yeah.
they'll probably uh, that'll be a really really good game. Australia playing Bangladesh potentially, but Bangladesh could be in a position, even if they're not ready to qualify. Bangladesh could be in a position to play spoiler.
Yeah.
So Australia, there's a few banana peels for all the top countries that are looking to qualify in the last few games. So
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
it's going to be interesting. Then we've got the two semi-finals, one at the Wankhede in Mumbai, and the other one's going to be at Eden Park. Um, both games are day-nighters, so they're going to
Mm.
be played around 9:30 New Zealand time,
Yeah.
15th and 16th of November. And finally, we have the finals, which is going to be on the 19th of November, which is a Thursday, funnily
Oh, is it?
enough,
Wow.
in the Narendra Modi Stadium Obviously, I mean, I think the TV people are all hoping it's India versus Pakistan, but for the sake of world peace, hopefully it's New Zealand versus Bangladesh. That's what we want, right?
That would be a great final. I would vote for that. Yeah, I think you're right. From a
Yeah,
TV's rating standpoint, yeah, India Pakistan finals obviously that would
yeah,
generate a lot of interest um,
yeah,
from everywhere. But yeah, that may not be the best for any other
yes,
perspective. But
exactly.
it would be really exciting though. That would be
So
a game. Talk about a charge game. That would just be crazy.
yeah, yeah, I think it'll be an incredible game if that happens. Especially, like, I wonder if you're an India fan, what you would you like? What if you finally end your World Cup streak against Pakistan, where you've beaten them in every encounter that you've had,
Yeah.
and you lose to Pakistan, but you win the World Cup, or you keep your streak, but India don't make the final four. Which would you rather have?
Oh, that is a hard choice for them.
That would, I think, be
I
a
mean,
hard choice.
I mean, I know I'm not, yeah, the right demographic to be answering it, but surely you take the trophy. But I
Yeah,
know I
I would.
know there's a whole thing there, but yeah, seems hard
And
to be like. You'd have to be a really stubborn fan, I feel, to be like, no, we have to keep the streak and screw the trophy.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, we'll all be looking forward to that game on the 14th. I think that's gonna be like there's gonna be
Yeah.
probably UN peacekeepers outside that ground just to keep it keep things going well.
Yes.
So we're looking at the squads. Afghanistan have got Hazmatullah Shahidi is gonna be playing, gonna be their captain.
Hmm.
Um, Ramanullah, some key players here: Riaz Hassan, Rashid Khan, Mohammed Nabi. Who's 34. He's a veteran. He's already been his first World Cup in 2015, so this will be his third World Cup
All right.
that
Yeah.
he's playing in. Rashid Khan, uh, Naveen Al Haq, fast bowler, right arm, and Mujibur Rahman, who's an off spinner. These are all the rising stars of Afghanistan cricket.
Yeah.
We but the team like the issue is the batting talent, especially explosiveness at the power plays. That seems to be a lot of their weak point.
Mhm.
Um,
And yeah, to see
definitely have a
they've got two top five bowlers in ODIs with Rashid Khan and Mujib Rahman. So
yeah,
plus the all
and
rounder with Nabi and Mohammed Nabi. So yeah,
yeah,
that's
Mohammed Nabi is a very good all rounder.
yeah.
Um,
So as you say,
so
bowling side of things perhaps not so worried, but yeah, batting might be the problem.
yeah, I mean, I think Afghanistan are definitely gonna win a few games.
Mm-hmm.
If we're gonna do predictions on where they're gonna finish on the table, I have in my head, I think they're not as good as Sri Lanka or Bangladesh, but they're better than the Netherlands, so I think they'll finish ninth.
Yeah, that
But
seems
they could
about.
win a few extra games. That seems like here and there, not just beat the Netherlands, but like, yeah,
Yeah, they could play spoiler. Um,
yeah, definitely can play
yeah,
spoiler.
and it's one
Uh,
of those things that depending on things, net run rates come in, so and they're not going to be easy pushovers. So
yeah,
teams will have to play at the right tempo and the right speed against them to keep. You wouldn't want to. There may be problems of trying to push net run rates, thinking you got the game, and then running into problems against their bowlers. So it could all be very interesting. But I think you're right. Ninth seems about right for Afghanistan.
yeah. Next up, we have Australia. Obviously, they won the World Cup in 2015 and 2007, 2003, and 99, and also 1987. Very balanced lineup. Pat Cummins has leading. There's Cameron Green is going to play in his first World Cup. I think everybody's looking forward to see what he can do. He's like a genuine all-rounder. Alex Carey is a very decent wicketkeeper batsman. So
Yeah.
you've already got like a lot of balance on this side. Um, it's the spin bowlers. You've got Ashton Agar, Adam Zampa, and Glenn Maxwell can always chip in with a few overs here and there.
Yeah.
And depending on whether or not they play Mitchell Marsh or Marcus Stoinis, uh,
Yeah.
their team will, and also just Travis Head, who's probably going to open. And
You would think.
And David Warner probably playing his last World Cup.
Probably, I would think. Don't know if he'd
Yeah,
make the next one, another 4 years. That's,
yeah. I
potentially
think.
pushing. Maybe
I
it'd
think
be
he's.
40. Not
Yeah, I
beyond
think.
reason.
Yeah, I think he's still pretty good. I think this will
Yeah.
be his, his swan song for
Yeah, if
for
he's there
the.
in 4 years, it's not going to be quite the same, is he? It'll be the outer statesman sort of thing. Maybe not
Yeah, yeah,
a regular starter, but still there. But yeah, this is the last big shot, I guess, for lack of a better terminology, of him playing a major part.
yeah. I think you're right. Next up, Bangladesh. So far, not yet announced a squad. But Shakib Al Hassan is obviously captain. They've got a very decent bowling lineup. Pace bowling wise, they've Ibadat Hussain, Mustafizur Rahman, Taskin Ahmed. The pace bowlers are definitely there.
That's good.
Ironically, spin bowlers are where they're lacking. Other than Shakib, they haven't got anyone who's a regular wicket taker. There's Mehdi Hassan as well. Um, and Shanto, who did get injured, but if he plays, their batting lineup looks much better. And obviously, if Tamim Iqbal returns from injury, they've got a pretty strong batting lineup then, because there'll be Liton Dash, who unfortunately got dengue fever. So once again, another player we need to see how they recover. He's
Yeah.
going to get opportunities against New Zealand to get back to match fitness, and Mushfiq. But this is probably Bangladesh's last World Cup with Tamim, Shakib, and Mushfiq, who basically played in the 2008 World Cup. I believe they're the only players still playing that played in that World Cup in the West Indies. Sorry, in 2007.
All right. Yeah.
And all three of them made their debut at that World Cup.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could be wrong, but off the top of my head, that seems correct.
Yeah. No, I can't think of
So
anybody else that had been since then.
yeah, unless Virat Kohli played in that World Cup.
Yeah.
Um, don't quote me on that. Like, there's nobody from England. Ah, maybe Jimmy Anderson played in that World Cup.
Yeah. Maybe. When
But
did these people? No. I think Virat Kohli was 2008 debut. I think,
no, but Jimmy
or one
Anderson's
day.
not
Yeah.
in the one-day team this World Cup anyway.
Anyway.
So
Yeah. Doesn't count. Yeah.
it's a
Virat Kohli was 2000. August 2008 was his ODI debut. So not
yeah.
2007 World Cup.
Yeah, so okay, yeah, so these are the three. There's also Mohammadullah if he makes a squad, so there might be those four. So Bangladesh, it shows you they're reliant. Like these guys are very unlikely to be here in 2027 in South
Yeah.
Africa. So they obviously need to refresh this team. So we'll see. So this is their last opportunity to make a knockout of the World Cup. Next up, we have the the bookies' favorites, England, led by Josh Butler, captain, wicketkeeper, opener, best player in the world, basically.
Yes, basically.
Um, they've also got Moeen Ali, who can open or bat lower down the order. Johnny Bairstow, another backup wicketkeeper. Okay, and he'll probably also play. Harry Brook has been brought into the squad. Sad for Jason Roy, who got dropped. Um, so Harry will most likely open either with Josh Butler or potentially Dawid Milan, who's
Yeah,
basically shown some incredible form in the last couple of games. Sam Curran has made his way into the team as a bowling all-rounder. Ditto Adil Rashid. And Ben Stokes. So there's plenty of Ben Stokes is a proper all-rounder if he can
yeah,
bowl, but his batting is definitely very good. In India, probably they will use Chris Wokes because he can bowl in so many parts of the innings, alongside either Mark Wood or Reece Topley, depending on who, or David Wood, like depending on the rotation and injury status. But I think the other player England have, who's probably the second best ODI batter in the world, is Joe Root. He's
yeah,
basically the N'Golo Kante of cricket because those overs between 10 and 40, he can basically go at a strike rate of 5 to 7 without taking any risks
yeah,
and just do it on the regular. And like that's what kills teams.
yeah,
Those
exactly.
30 overs going, if you're going at 6 and over for 30 overs, that's 180 runs. And like you're basically another, you only need another 120 from 20 overs to get your 300, but
Good, yeah,
you'll most likely get another 200 runs
yeah,
in that
exactly.
time, given the firepower England has at both the
Yeah,
top
exactly.
order and the bottom of the order.
Yeah,
So, and like, you'll have wickets in hand if someone like Root has managed to guide you. Root and Ben Stokes basically have managed to guide you that way.
yeah, exactly.
So, this is why England are such a tough team to beat. They basically kill teams in the middle order, both with the bat and the ball. That's like they basically grind you nickel and dime wickets um, without necessarily having like an out and out match winning bowler. Like they use tactics, good fielding, and like
Yeah, yeah,
play to the conditions. They're very canny. And obviously, if someone like Mark Wood is on form at the top of the innings, and Adil Rashid in India can almost certainly open the bowling as well if needed,
yeah,
if they need, or Moeen Ali can do
yeah,
that. So you've got two legit spin, and the thing is, even Joe Root is a legit spin bowler in Indian conditions,
yeah, exactly.
like a bowler who bowls balls that gets wickets, not necessarily or like is economical, but he'll get one to rag every now and then and bowl like clever knuckle balls and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So
He'll buy you a wicket. Need a wicket.
yeah,
He could potentially be someone, throw him a couple overs and see if you can buy
yeah,
yourself a wicket. Break up a
and
partnership.
Liam Livingston is another good opener there who can also bowl
Yeah.
leg spin. So
Yeah.
you've got a bunch of players in the team who can get you through, uh, and like they're obviously go gonzo at the death, even if their openers sometimes don't. The openers tend to play to the conditions.
Yeah.
Um, but still better than every other team in the death in like the power play. Like I'm not saying that it's just compared to how they go at the death. Their first 10, they're more likely to get like 80 odd, and then like their last 10, they're gonna get like 100 or 120.
Yeah, well,
Like that's
exactly.
how good they are at the death.
Yeah.
And then we have we have the bookie's other favorite, India, coached
Yeah.
by the legendary Rahul Dravid and led by
Yeah.
Rohit Sharma, another 36-year-old, potentially at his last World Cup. I don't
Yeah.
believe Rohit Sharma was at the 2008 World Cup either, because I think they still had Sehwag and Tendulkar. In fact,
Yeah.
Sehwag and Tendulkar were still there in 2011, so that's that. Um, we've also got Hardik Pandya, who's their vice captain and the team's all-rounder. This is India's strength in the bowling. You've got
Oh,
Hardik Pandya.
Sharma
You've got
potentially could have been there. He debuted in 2007, June 2007.
me then.
No, no, looks like he didn't go to the that one. But
Yeah. So at the moment, their bowling lineup is opening with their spin bowling. They're picking Ravindra Jadeja and Kuldeep Yadav as their spin bowlers, and they've got Akshar Patel in the squad as well. This is how good India are. Our Ashwin isn't good enough to get into their one-day team as a spin bowler.
that is
Like, he'd
crazy
be a
to just think
starter in
of.
almost every other team.
Yeah.
Like, just walk in as as an all-rounder, a bowling all-rounder. Um, they've got like both Ravindra Jadeja and Hardik Pandya are definitely, um, uh, definitely, um, genuine all-rounders. So at the death, India, that's when they attack. That's when they get their runs. They preserve wickets. They anchor. They go. They don't go as fast as England do. They're reliant on their goal is to get around 320 sort of runs, whereas England are almost always trying to go for 380, 400.
Yeah, yeah.
India are trying to get 300, 320, and then they believe their bowling lineup is good enough uh, to get them through to the end. Obviously, they don't have Rishabh Pant. That's a big loss, but Ishan Kishan's a very good player, as is KL Rahul. You've got Surya Kumar Yadav, who's probably going to open with Rohit Sharma. You've got the King, Virat Kohli,
Yeah.
potentially playing in his last World Cup as well, though not necessarily. And you've got like the young prince Shubman Gill.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's a very decent bowling lineup, absolutely. And this is the thing. We're not even a very decent batting lineup, more than decent, like a very good batting lineup, a very good spin bowling lineup. But the best part is yet to come. It's their pace bowling lineup. Jasprit Bumrah, uh, Mohammad Siraj, Mohammad Shami, and obviously you've got Shardul Thakur and uh, Hardik Pandya who can chip in with overs as well. What more can you legitimately ask for? You've got three in India. I don't think you need more than three frontline pace bowlers, especially if you've got Hardik in your team. Um, I'm sure Shardul will get games to give himself some reps,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Mohammad Siraj basically destroyed Sri Lanka in the Asia Cup final. I don't expect that'll happen all the time, but that just shows the the variety this team has. Like without necessarily having um, they don't have a left arm spinner, but they've got you've got Bumrah who's got the slide arm slingy action. You've got the Mohammad Shami who can bowl swing, and you've got Mohammad Siraj uh, who can do the wobble ball, gets it off the
Yeah.
seam and gets it to move. Like they just bowl so good as a tandem. Like when the fastest bowler in the world, Umran Malik, isn't good enough to get into your team, that shows how good your pace bowling stocks are.
It's crazy to think
So
of.
Yeah, so they're rightfully co-favorites with England. Like it's very
Yeah.
difficult to find weaknesses, and other than India potentially being a bit too slow at the start, and England's potential issue is they don't have a middle overs. Like they're batter heavy. Their bowling lineup can take a beating, but
Yeah.
their goal is to bat their way out of that position. Like
Yeah.
whatever you
Exactly.
score, we'll score more.
Yeah. Exactly. We can score more than you can score.
Yeah, and the batters. India's thing is like the batters. If the batters get a decent score, which we expect them to do, then the bowlers will do
Yeah.
their job. Okay,
Exactly.
so I think we didn't do a ranking thing here, but I think India, England, probably the top two teams, just like it happened in the last World Cup. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Australia, very difficult for me not to see being in the top four, just because they have so much quality in their players, and obviously their white ball
Yeah.
strategy has improved since they won the World Cup in 2021, T20 World Cup that is. Bangladesh is really, really difficult to predict, especially because we haven't got a squad named yet. So
Yeah.
I think Bangladesh is going to do better than Sri Lanka. So I'm going to put them at um, number 6. I think we'll get to it, but yeah. So they're going to be number 6 there. Um, is that correct? We put Afghanistan 9, right? So Bangladesh will
Yeah.
finish 7, in my opinion. Sorry. Then we have the Netherlands. Yeah, they've a lot of players I don't know much about. I mean, Scott Edwards has been around for ages, and he's been the captain for a while. Bunch of the really good players have retired, but Colin Ackerman's still there.
Yeah.
Paul van der Meekeren and Roelof van der Meervra, they've been in the game for so long. Max O'Dowd's a really good player. Bastilleed as well. So hopefully, I hope they can get a win somewhere. They have a good enough pace bowling lineup to get there. The spinners just don't get enough wickets at the moment. So
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
difficult for them to get middle over wickets, and they tend to get smashed in the death for that reason because there's plenty of um, there tends to be plenty of like wickets in hand. But I don't think they're gonna do too badly. I think they'll put a good account of themselves in a lot of games and potentially steal a win from one of the teams. But I think they're finishing 10th.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're the only associate.
Yeah. Exactly. They've done well to get to the tournament, but yeah, they're going to finish 10th. You say hopefully they'll eke a win out somewhere, maybe Afghanistan, maybe Sri Lanka, maybe Bangladesh. But yeah, I don't see that would be an amazing result, just getting one win, really.
Yeah,
So they've won their World Cup by making it to the finals. So
absolutely. Next up, we have the Black Caps.
yeah,
Squad fully announced. Kane Williamson
woo, yeah,
uh,
recovered from
appearing
his
in his 4th
injury.
World Cup. It's difficult to gauge how he'll play, and
Yeah,
hopefully he'll get a few games in Bangladesh to get some match form. Obviously, there's more to having Kane in the team than just purely his batting. Generally does a lot of clutch batting, and he's an incredible captain for the team. Obviously, if he's not injured and can play, he's going to be number 3 in that batting lineup.
yeah.
Um, we've got Trent Bolt. Clearly, he's going to start, like, no question.
Well, there should be
Mark
no question. Yeah,
Chapman. Um, Mark Chapman is uh, a very good, I think, middle overs player to have, like a 4 or 5. But he's
yeah.
got competition with obviously Daryl Mitchell, Glenn Phillips, and James Neesham. I
I guess the
personally think
benefit there.
Glenn Phillips has shown so much value to this team.
Yeah, yeah.
He's also younger, and obviously he's got like a bit of right arm off break up his sleeve.
Well, yes, Mark
if
Chapman's left
needed.
arm as well, like left arm slow. So
Yeah, but as a
left arm
counter, because
orthodox. Yeah,
Mitchell Santner and Ish Sodhi are gonna bowl leg spin and left arm
yeah, yeah,
spin.
yeah. You're right. Lymphadex does give a variation there, but yeah. So that could
Um,
be useful just to move the ball the other way.
yeah. Obviously, I think Devon Conway is gonna be our starting opener for the
Yeah,
team. Um, he can obviously also wicket keep, but he's gonna open. It's a question of who opens with him. Do you think it should be someone like Daryl Mitchell, or should it be Will Young? I think it should be Will Young.
yeah. I wouldn't say no to Will Young. Like I want to see more of him. So yeah,
Yeah, I think Will Young has shown that he's more than capable. He can bat long, and he's got an okay record in India,
yeah,
batting in there in those conditions. I wouldn't have minded if they got a bit experimental, if they decided to let Tom Latham open
yeah,
with um, Devon Conway, and you've got Kane Williamson at 3, like basically getting your 3 best batters in the side right
yeah.
off.
Basically
Because Glenn
going.
Phillips can bat 4, I think that would be
Yeah,
quite good. And then you can fit in both Daryl Mitchell, you can put Daryl Mitchell at 5,
Daryl Mitchell could
and
play four as well, really. So
yeah, 4,
like either
5,
or.
Mitchell, Glenn Phillips, you can swap those two
Yeah,
around. But then at number 6, you can potentially put in a Rachin Ravindra if you want to get another left arm orthodox in there, because or James Neesham if you want to get
yeah,
the batting all rounder, who can bowl a bit of medium spin, or a player like you can put a player like Mark Chapman in if you want to strengthen the batting lineup. But I think Will Young probably he's earned his chance. I think he's been batting really well. Unfortunately, Finn Allen didn't quite come off in the games he's
yeah,
played so far. So yeah, I think he'll open with Conway, Young, and then Williamson at number 3. I like the idea of Latham at 4 because I
yeah.
don't
No,
see there
it's
being any. Latham's so good at rebuilding the innings if they lose early wickets, and I think
exactly.
he's
I'm
he's
always a
very good
fan
in
of
India.
yeah. I'm always a fan of the theory that you should let your best batters bat for as long as they possibly can. So
Yeah,
having Tom Latham as far up the order seems the best option. Just if anything, he's one of the
I
best
think
batters, so he should bat as many overs as we possibly can get him to bat.
I think Glenn Phillips batting at 6 is a waste. He should be at least 5
Yeah,
because he's one of the most explosive batsmen in this lineup.
yeah, yeah,
As and Daryl Mitchell can bat 6 if need be in that situation.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, Darren Mitchell can just about bat any number across the entire starting 11, right? So
Yeah. Um,
it's almost with Darren Mitchell. It's
you
how low do you not want him to go? Like once again, you need to have him there for the right situations. So
Yeah, the thing here is with the pace bowling lineup. I don't know that you're gonna have Saldeep start, and I think you have to have Lockie Ferguson start. He's just too experienced in India, and he knows how to bowl. He bowl at first change, bowl at the
yeah,
death. Trent bowls at the opening, bowls at the death, and you've got. Sorry, Tim's. I thought they had picked Kyle Jamieson. So Tim Southey will be your third bowler,
yeah, yeah.
opens and probably bowls at the bowls in the middle.
They've only really picked the four pace bowlers with Trent, Southey, Ferguson, and Matt Henry. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Matt Henry is there as a backup if any of them get injured or lose form.
yeah.
You don't
Matt
want to
Henry
rely
playing the
too
Matt
much
Henry
on.
role.
Yeah, I don't think you want to rely on Daryl Mitchell or James Neesham too much if they have
No.
to bowl. This is the thing where do you instead of Daryl Mitchell play someone like Rachin Ravindra who
Potentially, yeah.
can potentially be more of a frontline bowler, but I think you still need someone with a bit more batting solidity at number 6. I think.
Yeah. I think this is where you get the bit of flexibility on your choices, and that's where this sort of you sort of look at the squad and you can sort of see the natural bowlers, see the natural openers, and it's just that middle order where it's got some good options, and it's the flexibility of do you take you know Ravinder or Chapman more
Like,
who
I think,
have the spin bowling things, or do you go with the experience of Mitchell or Nisham or yeah
yeah, I think you would have, if we had Michael Bracewell, I think they would have experimented potentially with Latham opening with Conway, so that you could put Daryl Mitchell at 5 and Bracewell at 6.
oh yeah
Um, because I think Bracewell as a spin bowler is like such a nuisance bowler and in ODIs. And Rachin Rajendra is not as good at bowling as Bracewell is. Um,
yeah.
Mitchell Santner will probably be number 7. I think he's definitely going to start. Um, Question is probably number 8. You've got Saudi. Here is the thing where do you take Ish Sodhi is probably going up against Rachin Ravindra for that other starting spinner spot. Whether do you get the extra batting with Ravindra to bat him at 7, then you've got a strong batting lineup, or do you pick Ish Sodhi? You get some leg spin in that.
I feel like you sort of have to, right?
I think you have to have Ish Sodhi and Santner. They're gotta be your ODIs, and obviously, I mean, Ish Sodhi is not gonna bat higher than probably 11, but that's fine. He can still hold a bat if need
Yeah,
be. If he needs
exactly.
to be there for 2 or 3 overs and try and hit a few boundaries, he can do that. Tim Southee is like a specialist at being there for 2 or 3 overs and hitting sixes. Like, that's pretty much all he trains when he's batting in the nets. And Tim Southee can easily bat number 8. That's a very comfortable position for him.
I mean, for me, the sort of lineup, we get Conway, Young, Williamson, Latham, Phillips, and then number 6 is sort of the floater one with the all rounders. Then you got Satner, Southey, Ferguson, Bolt, Sodi. Like, I feel it's maybe a little light on batting depth as you get into Satner and Southey reasonably early, but like Satner's is basically an
Satner
all
at
rounder.
number Satner at number 7's okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's
Satner at
not too
number
bad.
6 is too high.
No. So at 6, you've got either Chapman, Mitchell, Nisham, Ravindra, and Matt Henry's floating around as well if you wanted to
Yeah.
put him in for one of the fast bowlers, but I don't see him being. They say there's potential whether you drop out a Satner or a Sodi for a Chapman or a Ravindra or something. But to me, that's just the number 6 is there's what 4 people to stick into number 6 depending on what balance you're going for.
Yeah. And at a pinch, I guess Glenn Phillips could bat at 6 as well. That means he's basically your death overs closer.
Yeah. I don't see him being below any of those other 4 though. So,
Yeah.
like, who are you putting above him really?
I mean, Mitchell.
I suppose Mitchell, yeah. But Mitchell,
And Mitchell is a frontline batter.
yeah, a
Good
good
enough,
point.
more than good enough to be a frontline batter in the
Yeah,
team.
good point. Yeah, Mitchell, Phillips, either way. Like, to me, they're sort of a similar. So maybe Mitchell
Yeah,
gets bracketed with Phillips more than the others. So yeah,
yeah.
Phillips or Mitchell, or potentially both if you want a bit more of a stronger batting.
But yeah, I think Glenn Phillips is going to contribute with the ball. So you need
Oh no,
at
he will.
least 4 or 5 overs a game.
Yeah, I
So
mean that's the thing. You with this, you're going to have lots of options, and having Phillips there just means that you can put a Nisham or a Mitchell in as
there's
well because you get more
this
spin
is
options.
potentially the other plan would be if Glenn Phillips can give you 5 or so overs a game and Richard Vendra can give you 5 or so overs a game, then maybe they don't have Ish Sodhi and you have basically. Mitchell Santner at 8, Ravindra at 7. That's a very strong batting lineup.
That is a strong batting lineup. So yeah.
That's 8. That's like you're up to 8. You've got front line, and Tim Southee at 9 is a very good number 9.
Yeah. No, that's also a very strong lineup. So I'm sure
I mean, they'll get opportunities to play around with that, so we'll see what they do.
It'll be interesting the first game to see how it goes. Was that
especially against Bangladesh in the warm-up games. So we'll see.
Oh yeah.
How the players adapt to that. But I think top 4, you and I are both predicting for New Zealand.
Yep, I think they would.
So we're expecting a repeat of the '99 World Cup: India, England, Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Pakistan, other than Babar Azam, nobody else has been named.
Yes.
They have an incredibly good batting lineup. Bowling lineup is improved. Spin is the issue here, unfortunately, for them. And apparently player in fighting. Again. And the board is interfering. Again. Just Pakistan thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, how is this a negative for Pakistan? That's like just standard.
Very like I think just the issues they've had off field, and there's some weaknesses that can be exploited in this team. I think they're gonna finish 6th.
6th. I had them at 5th above South Africa, but that's gonna be a
South Africa just beat Australia.
Well, you make a point, actually. Yeah.
And they have a very good bowling lineup. It's a question of whether the batters can get some runs. It's basically Marco Jansen. We'll get to South Africa now. Obviously, Temba Bavuma captaining the side. Potentially another guy on his last World Cup. We've got a very good bowling lineup. We've got Gerald Coetzee, Marco Jansen. He's basically a left-handed Kyle Jamieson.
Yeah.
You've got Andrik Norkia, basically Daryl Stain reborn, Kagiso Rabada, and the spin bowling is even stronger. You've got Tabriz Shamsi, Rassi van der Dusen, Aiden Makram can chip in a few overs, and Keshav Maharaj. Obviously, they're slow left armer, so you've got a left arm wrist spinner, left arm finger spinner, and a right arm leg spinner to pick from. And also they've got Lungi and Ngidi as well, another very good pace bowler. Obviously Rabada's gonna bowl. He's already so experienced at bowling in Indian conditions. Andrik Norkia, out and out pace never goes out of fashion. It's basically black clothes. Henrik Klaassen is in very, very good form, but I think Quinton de Kock is gonna start ahead of him, and obviously Quinton is going to open with Temba probably. So the bowling lineup is a bit weaker because you've got Marco Jansen at number 7. So this would be the equivalent of us having someone like Trent Boult at number 7 or Kyle Jamieson at number 7 in an ODI World Cup. So they've got 5 out and out bowlers who are absolute rock stars, and you've got people like Adrian Markram who can pitch in with the occasional overs, and then you've got 6 batters. I think Temba Bavuma's this is his best format, ODIs. I think Quinton de Kock opening up with him. Adrian Markram's finally showing that skill that we all knew that he had. David Miller still around, still one of the best closers in the game. But then, once those guys are out, it's very difficult to see where they're getting their other runs from. So that's their potential weakness, but I like a team that's weighted favor of bowling versus batting. Just because I think having 5 bowlers in India, where batting can, traditionally it's harder to get wickets than not. for teams like South Africa. I think they're gonna do really well. I think South Africa will finish 5th, in my opinion, but they could sneak ahead into the top 4. If they sneak ahead into the top 4, I will say that they'll sneak ahead of Australia. I think New Zealand are making the top 4.
Yeah. No, so I had them at 6th.
I had New
Behind
Zealand
Pakistan,
until
but it's all pretty much the muchness between
when
Pakistan and South Africa. I mean,
with sorry, go on.
as I say, the bookies got South Africa 5th at $8.50, or the New Zealand TAB, which is just below
Yeah.
Pakistan, but they got New Zealand at $9.50, so below South Africa. So, but that's pretty much the 6th that they've got with any real odds of doing anything. So this after New Zealand
Yeah,
to Sri Lanka at $31, and then Afghanistan,
yeah.
Bangladesh, and Netherlands at 101. So
I think Bangladesh potentially worth betting a tenner on, 100 to 1.
yeah, that's outright winner. That's to go all the way.
Yeah, yeah. That's what we hope for world peace, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I think South Africa. I think New Zealand. I was thinking might finish 5th. If this is before Pakistan had their infighting issues, and South Africa South Africa showed how good their bowling lineup is, and their batters have the thing is I talked all about the weaknesses in that batting lineup, but Marco Jansen at number 7 is getting runs, so I'm like, okay, maybe he is an all-rounder.
Yeah.
So South Africa, if you just need a lower order player like him to hit some form for a month, right?
Yeah.
And that can change stuff. So I think and Kane Williamson, I didn't know was gonna play in the World Cup. I thought it would, Latham would be leading the team to this World Cup. Kane coming in changed the balance for me. I think they finished top 4. I wouldn't be surprised if South Africa managed to sneak into the top 4, but I think it would happen at the expense of Australia.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think Australia have too many lefties. Again.
Okay.
Now, hard for me to really analyze the next team. Sri Lanka, they've been terrible. They had a terrible outcome in the Asia Cup, but they played pretty well all tournament. Dasun Shanaka is leading the side. We don't know anybody else. It's not being named. As far as I know, there is no infighting issues. They just haven't named a squad yet. Bangladesh had injury issues, so that's why they hadn't, and probably Sri Lanka's in the same position. Once again, both Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, I wouldn't be surprised if they finished 4th, but I'm not betting on it because they both have injury issues. So I think Sri Lanka, once again, I think Bangladesh is slightly better, so Sri Lanka, I think, finish 8th. So my World Cup is England. I'm just gonna say this is league stage. I'm not predicting knockouts. I'm just saying England, India, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Netherlands.
Basically, my list. There are only slight changes that I stuck New Zealand at the top of the standings, but why not? And as I said, I originally had Pakistan above South Africa, but you're right, the infighting and stuff, maybe that goes the other way around, but yeah.
I always pick them 4th because if New Zealand finishes top, they get knocked out in the semis. If they finish 4th, they get to the finals.
Okay, fair enough. Fair.
That's always how things work logically, right? If that's how it's happened before, that's how it'll always work.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just how that's how causality works, right?
Yes. Sure, that's causality. Yeah. I'll just continue being the one-eyed black cap supporter.
Fair enough. But yeah, I think it'll be if England finish top, I think, and New Zealand finish 4th, they'll face each other in the semis, and obviously India will play Australia.
Mm.
Like once you're in the knockouts, anything can happen. We'll know
Exactly.
more injuries, blah blah blah. All these things will play a factor. I
Super
think,
overs.
yeah. Though there's only, this is the thing. I thought they would have rolling super overs as a,
I thought they
um,
were going to do that.
no, they're only gonna have a second super over.
Oh,
At which point I'm like, why don't you just have the boundary count back? Then
yeah. I thought we went through
they're
this.
gonna have a they have a second super over, and then if that doesn't have a result, it's shared. To
All
which I
right.
think, why have two super overs? Just have one super over if you're gonna end up sharing the trophy.
Exactly. I think it just has to be rolling super overs, doesn't it? If that just happens to take forever, well, that's such is life.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're gonna have super overs, if you're just gonna have, if you're gonna have, you can have only one. If you only have a one super over and then share, that's fine. Or do boundary count back, that's fine. You know, I've
Yeah.
explained in 4 years ago why I think boundary count back was was an perfectly acceptable and fair way, and it actually makes sense of doing that. How deciding the winner
Yeah, yeah.
after a drawn super over, and but the only thing I thought would be better than boundary count back was rolling super overs. But one
Yeah.
additional super over is dumb. If you're gonna
Yeah.
just share a trophy after, just share a trophy after a drawn super over. Why
Yeah,
does the
exactly.
team? Why does the team who loses the second super over deserve to lose? At this point, you've already had like 51 overs, 101 overs to prove that the sides are not, they're
Yeah.
too even.
That said, other than the fact that Super Overs is exciting, if that's the argument as well, then why do the Super Over in the first place if you're just going to share it? Like, they have 100 overs shared. Like, I think, yeah, the answer is you've got to have it. If you're going to do something to decide between the two teams, yeah, you've got to keep
Yeah,
doing. You've got to have that keep going. You've got to keep going until you get one. Whatever
yeah, 100%.
your separation is, yeah, whether you just go, we're just going to do super overs, we're just going to do them forever. I mean, yeah, if
Yeah,
it takes 120 overs to get there, it took 120 overs to get there. Like, it's just how it goes. But if you don't want to go that long, then you know, boundary count back, sure. Say, I think last time it was, yeah, I know it was there the whole time, but nobody in New Zealand really thought about it until it became an actual issue, and that's why it sort of caused a little bit of a fracas. But that's
you're
what,
totally entitled to be disappointed. I'm not
yeah,
saying anyone with the result. We were disappointed. I was definitely disappointed. I never thought it
extremely
was
disappointed.
unfair.
Yeah, no,
I
yeah, it's a
don't
different.
think boundary countback was unfair. Like, the fact that the umpires did their calculations wrong, and it should have been 4 runs, not five, for that overthrow that hit
5
the
runs, not
bat.
6.
Sorry, 5 runs and not six.
Yeah,
That's that to me is unfair. Like
that is unfair.
I don't think the fact that it hit his bat and went on is unfair. That happens in cricket.
That just
Like it's a
happens. Yeah,
completely cricketing related thing, and
yeah,
nobody's intending to do it. Nobody's playing unfairly. Nobody was doing gamesmanship or cheating. But that
yeah.
it
Yeah.
happened, and but these things happen in cricket. It's not
Yeah.
out of the ordinary to happen in cricket. So
Yeah.
I'm
The
not.
one thing that might have
Uh,
been it would have been not against the laws of cricket, but against the spirit of cricket. If it hadn't gone to the boundary and they ran fronts, because
yeah,
generally it's not considered,
yeah,
within the spirit that if you
yeah.
accidentally knocked it away, that you should take the
But
runs.
they
But if
would
it
have
goes to
been
the boundary,
completely within. They're
oh,
completely within their rights to have run. By the
oh
way,
yeah, 100%, yeah.
I would. And the
And they probably should have, given the fact that it was a World Cup final. Like,
yeah,
turning
exactly.
down 3 runs is a that's
Yeah,
taking honour a long, long way in a World Cup final. Like, you
yeah,
don't need to die
and
on that
the
hill. It's fine.
because at the England, you could say the same thing about England bowled a bouncer in the final ball of the over, and it went for four byes.
Yeah,
It happens.
it happens.
Like
These things,
like
yeah,
it's unlucky, but it happens.
it happens. Yeah, as you say, I don't consider the boundary countback as unfair in any way. So disappointed, and more the disappointment was that I hadn't really thought about it or looked it up until it became an issue as the game wore on, and then suddenly it's like, oh, what is the deciding thing? Oh, it's boundary countback. Oh, we're way off that. Okay, and then it was, you
Oh
say, it's
wait,
not unfair. It's just disappointing. But it's just
I'm looking
the
at the
hmm?
so I'm looking at laws of the 2023 Cricket World Cup qualifier. I don't know if this is going to be for the final, which I surely it must be the same rules for the qualifier as it is in this tournament.
You
But it
would
says
think.
all other matches a tie or no result. If the result of a match shall be a tie if both innings have been completed and scores are equal. Understandable. If a match is tied, a super over is played. If a super over is tied, then subsequent super overs shall be played until there is a winner. Unless circumstances arise, there shall be an unlimited number of super results to achieve a result. Refer to Appendix F.
Okay.
Like,
But,
in the event of a playoff ranking team being tied, shall determine the winner. In the event of a tied final, the team shall complete a super over to determine which team is the winner. If following a tie, weather conditions prevent the super over from being completed, or if the match is abandoned or no result, competition winner shall be the team that finished in the higher position in the Super 6 stage. Okay, this is all for the qualifying.
yeah.
So, Appendix G. But Appendix F is just about electronic equipment. That doesn't seem too relevant. Loss of 2 wickets shall end a super over. If the super over is a tie, the super over shall be played till completion. Only nominated players in the match, including concussion replacement, may participate in super over. Okay, that's fine. Team batting second shall bat first in a super over. Okay, that's fine. That's standard. What is it? I think there's a rule about players who partook in the previous super over cannot partake in the next super over.
All right. Yeah, that makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, I think that also makes sense. Oh, so there's 20 minutes of extra allocated time, but this was in the qualifying tournament, so tied super over repeating if the super over 15 minutes after the previous super over ends. Okay, so 5 minutes after the team batting second in the previous super over shall bat first. Once again, makes sense. Balls selected for use by each team in the previous over shall be used again. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Fielding side shall bowl its subsequent super over from the opposite end. Yep, makes sense. Any batter dismissed in a previous super over shall be ineligible to bat in any subsequent super over.
Ooh.
Wow, so you can run out of wickets and lose super overs.
Wow. Yeah, that makes some sense.
Any bowler who bowled in the previous super over shall be ineligible to bowl in the subsequent super over. Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that makes sense as well. So it sort of is like a turnabout cricket, regular cricket match, right? It's just that
Yeah,
you each have an over each, and so you still can't bowl the same person twice. You know, if you get out, you're out. That's it. You're done for super overs.
yeah, okay. But it's interesting that a batter would run out. I mean, that's actually kind of good because,
Yeah.
that means the later super overs, like wickets, become important. So it adds another level of a another level of uh
Well, it means that you can still
yeah,
bowl a team, like you can still be a good bowling unit and that have an
yeah,
impact, right? Like you can technically
yeah.
bowl a team out. They can't just scrabble their
I
way through and keep it going indefinitely.
yeah, so that is the that was the rules for the Super League.
Mm.
I don't know if that's going to be the rule in this tournament. Maybe this Cricinfo article will explain it. This is something potentially we should have researched.
Essentially.
But does that? Who does that?
Yes. My quick Googling wasn't finding anything useful anyway. You seem to have found the better
Yeah, I found an
results.
actual document with the rules, tournament rules, but but there's no thing for the actual. There's no rules around the actual Cricket World Cup itself, Super Overs, and there's nothing
Yeah.
in that Wikipedia
It
page
is also
either.
potential the ICC hasn't actually released anything yet to say.
Uh maybe, but I'm sure they have. Surely,
Sure, well, sure, it's been documented and that the the member teams know, but whether it's been released in such a way to us public is a different issue.
yeah. But what? Yeah, okay. So we don't know what. They haven't clarified what the Super Over rules are. So if there's a tie in a knockout in one of the group games, do you have a Super Over?
I assume no. I assume if it's tied during the group games, that's just a tied game. It's only for the knockouts that they would employ the super overs.
Um, yeah, but by there seems to be a indication that this is a that like this rule is like a universal
All right.
rule. I mean, I could be wrong. Like this is the rule for ICC tournaments. But it would be nice to have this sort of document, like, you know, for the ICC World Cup. Like, there should be someone who's gone through every rule and read it and, you know, gone through uh, for the media stuff as well. Someone from the media to script the rules. Okay, so the Telegraph have confirmed that it's only, what is the, on the from now on, if teams are tied in a knockout game and they're still tied after Super Over, they will continue to play Super Overs until a winner is found.
Oh,
Okay, I'm happier with that.
yeah.
Okay, so we should assume that's the rule unless they say it's not.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm happy with that, or if they said that the trophy is shared after a Super Over if it's still tied. Like, that's both fine.
Yes.
I think it's stupid to have a second Super Over and then share it. Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, it does make less sense. Like, you may as well just keep going. If you decided you're going to do super overs to find out who's better, just keep going.
Yeah, and because it would be interesting if you had a Super Over where somebody just bowls like a wicket, gets a wicket, dot ball, wicket, and then it's like the other guy gets 2 wickets and 2 balls, and then you've got, you know, both teams are effectively 0 for 2. You know what I mean? Like in the second Super Over.
That would be funny.
Yeah, and like, what would happen if it's still tied in score? Because even if you were to get, like, let's say you got the whole team out, like got rid of all
Yeah.
10 wickets, nobody can bat, and the second team has nobody that can bat because they're all out. What happens then?
Super over of super overs? I don't know, actually. I assume. Well, yeah, imagine that. You both lose all your wickets and are tied at the end of
Unless
equal
they're
super
playing
overs. Oh,
unless they play single wicket with the last remaining. But even then, what if that guy gets out and the next over the other guy gets out and the scores are still tied, like, you know,
yeah.
from those set of super overs? What would happen?
That's a very good question. Do they maybe they just go and start again super overs again? I think at that point you just go keep going.
Yeah, I mean, potentially go again forever. Like, I mean, at some point, like, surely at that point we're happy to share. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, nobody can.
there comes a point where
We've
everybody goes, you
literally
know
gone
what?
through we've literally gone through the batting lineup again, you know?
Yeah. We think that these guys are equal. There's no
Yeah.
telling. There's nothing to differentiate them. Just give them both the trophy.
I mean, I'm gonna ask the question to Jared Kimber
Hmm.
and see what he can find out.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if they've thought about it or if there's like, because he's actual media person and like is also an occasionally umpires and still plays great cricket and gets the rule book sent to him and everything. He
Yeah.
might actually know.
He might. Yeah.
But yeah, and we might come back with an answer.
Yeah. Ooh. Answers.
Yeah, well, we can look forward to that next time, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, same. We might have that. So the next cricket one will be when we're starting to look at the playoffs after the end of the round robin. So we could be where this question sort of needs the answer. So we're getting to knockouts in the final.
I think, yeah, my understanding is in the semis, maybe they still have the they have a thing of like whoever placed higher in the groups go ahead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's basically the reward for getting a higher group position.
Which makes sense.
Like if you tie, there's not even a super over. If you tie, you go ahead, which I think fine. Like there has to be some advantage to finishing over the um, over the other team in the group stage. But yeah, in the finals, that shouldn't matter anymore. I think that's fair. Like, if New Zealand had lost to England after the tied match because England beat them in the group stage, I'd be like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like boundary count back is actually fair.
What does he say? It is actually encouraging a specific type of play, which is what they want, which is who had the most attacking high risk shots. Therefore, you played the cricket we want to play, so therefore you win. It's fine. So, given that it was something that everybody knew about, it was okay.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think on that note, I think that's all we have time for today.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Catch you next time.
Well, that is the end. Thanks for listening all the way through.
If you liked what you heard, we have even more. Find 642 Discord and a Buy Me a Coffee.
Pretty sure it's Buy Me a Beer.
Oh yeah, buy me a beer on buymeacoffee.com.
In both these places, you can talk to us, and we may even listen, especially if you do buy a said beer or coffee. I might still be confused.
Yes, we're easily bribed. All links are in the show notes below.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
This is on YouTube.